When I think of my childhood, I think of parents who loved me very much. There were 3 sisters, 5 years apart, all of us. I was the middle child, and that can demand its own type of attention. My parents were also very broken though. They had a lot of stress in their marriage. They took care of a lot of people. My dad had a lot of rejection and always felt like a failure on some level. And because of that, he turned to drinking. As I was growing up, he started to drink more. I had a lot of anger because of what was happening, so I would reach outside of my family unit for things that my family should have been giving me. Both my parents really never went to church. Aside from a vacation Bible school every once in a while, I really never thought about God. And so I didn't have that to turn to, so I turned to friends, and I turned to relationships, boyfriends and things like that. Really try to fill that place that felt so empty. By the time I was in 11th grade, I had started dating this guy that I ended up falling in love with him, and we had a very long relationship, and he was a great guy. In the world's eyes, it was really a very good relationship, a perfect relationship, really. We got along very well. The normal things that a lot of young couples would even have or whatever, but, I always felt like there was something missing. And my dad's drinking had gotten heavier, and my parents just were so divided. And I pushed that away more and more, and turned to this guy to really fill the void. Even in filling that void, it still wasn't enough. And I didn't know until my mom asked me to go to church one time. She knew to turn to God, and it was a really rough patch. And that's kind of how it is when you have the hardest places in your life and God finds us in our sorrow. We ended up at a revival one night, and my dad came in his desperation to be free. He was hurting so much. The pastor called my dad up and ended up praying over him, and I saw with my own eyes release come to him. I didn't understand it all, but my dad wept and let go of some things, and I just saw a real powerful deliverance take place, and it changed me forever. Towards the end of the revival, and from the moment I walked in, I knew God had something for me. The pastor preached, and it's like everything he said was for me. It was like God directly speaking to me. It was very new to me, but there was something in me that knew that it was so real, and it impacted my life in such a way that I've never been the same. There was never a day after that I didn't wake up every single day with just an awareness of God. He messed up my sinning. He messed up the path that I had planned for myself. I had been dating my boyfriend since junior high school, and all of a sudden, here I am, a Christian, and he's not. I really struggled with what to do about that. And it took several years for me to really come to a place of God really dealing with me strongly about it. He was so good to me, but he didn't have God like I did. And I felt the Lord tell me, if you follow through with this marriage, because we had gotten engaged, I had decided that I was going to go through with everything. And I got engaged. I had a wedding dress. But deep inside, I knew that it wasn't going to be everything that God had for me. And God told me, if you marry him, you'll have a good life. Because I love you, but you won't have the best life. And I trusted God enough to know that he wasn't lying. My faith was so strong to believe that if I gave that up, if I gave up my good thing, and it was good, he promised me that he would bring me the best thing. And I trusted that. And I made the hardest decision I've ever made. And I walked away from a relationship, an engagement, to a man that I loved. It was the single most loneliest moment of my entire life. But it was going to be worth it. So I ended up meeting a wonderful man. God showed me that he was the one. He actually ended up attending my church that I was going to, and it was amazing. I've never had a peace like that peace. We ended up getting married, and 26 years later, I can tell you that he is a wonderful husband, an amazing father to my 2 girls. We've ended up serving in ministry together along with our 2 children. We ended up actually going to Oxford Highlands campus when they launched, and it has been the most fulfilling part of our ministry, serving together on various teams, resource team, music teams, married couples teams. Actually, it's kind of amazing. God brings it full circle because he and I are actually marriage coaches now. And as I look back on the 26 years and remember the promise that God made me, I am a testimony today to the faithfulness of God when you are obedient to him.